Last time we had done a part of the section 115, but we'll quickly go through some of those things because you missed it. So just quickly run to them and then continue. So the marriage party has left the forest hermitage, and now Savitri is living in the ashram there, an ascetic life. She is happy, of course, because her heart's desire has been fulfilled. She was firm to have Satyavan as her husband. There was an opposition from her mother, but she asserted her will, and there was the heavenly sanction from Narad himself. Yes, go ahead, everything will be all right. Although there is the immediate doom, but eventually everything will be all right. That all right is the force, the spiritual force, the soul force which Narad had put in the soul of Savitri. And then from that point onward, Savitri's new life begins. Actually, that all right means now she is kind of initiated. Her yoga is going to begin now shortly, you see. But the poet is not rushing to straightaway tell us about her yoga. After all, it is human Savitri who has to do the yoga. So the transition from the human to the yogic is also to be taken care of, to be known. And that is what we have essentially in the first canto of the book of Yoga. Savitri is swaying between grief and happiness. There is a constant fear, dread that her husband is going to die. At the same time, she is extremely happy in the company of her husband. So there is a kind of a constant conflict going on in her psychological state. The seesaw game which goes on is very, very beautifully described in this canto, you see. And the poet, because he is totally, so to say, unconcerned about the human feelings and human relations, can describe all those things in a very dispassionate, quiet, detached manner. He is not emotionally getting involved in that, but he understands the emotion and he describes his emotions in his full. It is that kind of a detachment from the entire scene which gives an authenticity to the conflict which is going on within the heart of Savitri. It's a very authentic description that we see. And that is what we have in the second section, very well described actually. At first to her beneath the sapphire heavens, the sylvan solitude was a gorgeous dream, an altar of the summer splendor and fire, a sky-topped flower-hung palace of the gods, and all its saints a smile on rapturous lips, and all its voices bars of happiness. What a beautiful description this one is here. Beneath the sapphire heavens, blue heavens, sapphire. You must have heard, in fact, we have read that story, sapphire story. Lian and mother's sapphire tale, you see. It is the overmind picture. She says the overmind picture. Sapphire heaven. The sylvan solitude was a gorgeous dream. Now, this is in contrast to the way Savitri was brought up in the palace. She was brought up in great luxury, in pomp, majesty, royalty, all those things. Now here what you have? Sylvan solitude. You have sky-topped flower hunt, not gardens and all that thing now, but natural flower hunt, palace of the gods. It is of course the palace of the gods because it is the fulfillment of her love. And therefore she is living as if in the palace of the gods, you see, not the human palace, the real divine palace, you see, is the fulfillment of love in which she sings. And all his saints a smile on rapturous lips. Obviously, it is the moment of extreme joy of the union of the lovers, and all his voices bars of happiness. So all the birds are singing, they are singing the song of happiness all along for her, you see. There was a chanting of the casual wind, there was a glory in the least sunbeam. Glory in the least sunbeam. Night was a cries of praise on velvet cloth. This is what we have seen last time. The velvet cloth is there, and on that this gem is sitting, the cries of praise, blue shining gem. The gem which shines even in the darkness. So it is that which is shining there. And nestling darkness or a moonlit deep, day was a purple pageant, and a hymn, a wave of laughter, of light from morn to eve. So this is the entire picture of the day, from morning to eve, you see. The whole he is describing how the whole day passes for Savitri. See. And then his absence was a dream of memory, his presence was the empire of a god. When Savitri is alone, her husband has gone for work to the forest, then his absence, she is dreaming, oh, my beloved, my Lord, my Satyavan, all the while that memory is there in her soul all the while. Effusing with the joys of earth and heaven, a tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past, a rushing of two spirits to be one, a burning of two bodies in one flame. A burning of two bodies in one flame, the flame of love with that intensity bringing them together physically, and it is that intensity which is very beautifully described here, you see. Well, in the common language, in the vital language, it would mean it is the fusing of the two lovers, it is a sexual union of the lovers here. But here the whole thing can see to what level he has taken it up. Yes, there is a sexual part of it, all right, but he is not describing it in that way at all, you see. It is the burning of two bodies in one flame. It is not the physical contact of one to the other. The burning of the body takes place in the subtle physical. The subtle physical becomes active, dynamic, powerful, you see. And when they are meeting with each other, it is the subtle physical which is now getting kindled by their union, by their by their coming together. So it is the subtle physical which is now becoming really luminous in that case. Open were gates of unforgettable bliss, obviously, you see. Two lives were locked within an earthly heaven. See, the poet has no hesitation in describing these intimate scenes, in these details, you see. And fate and grief fled from that fiery hour. There is no room for fate. There is no room for grief at all, you see, in that union, you see. But soon now failed. So this is one moment of their union. But then what happens on the other hand? But soon now failed the summer's ardent breath. As I told you, the summer is appearing very consistently in all the places. Summer, you see. So this is the union which takes place in summer. So the death is also going to take place in summer. 1 year after they are coming together. But so now fell the summer's ardent breath, and throngs of blue-black clouds crept through the sky, and rain fled sobbing over the dripping leaves, and storm became the forest titan voice. Then, listening to the thunder's fatal crash, and the fugitive pattering footsteps of the showers, and the long unsatisfied panting of the wind, and sorrow muttering the sound vexed the night, the grief of all the world came near to her. She is in the company of her husband, and now the rains are there after the summer. So it is the rain of grief which is approaching Savitri. Grief of all the world came near to her. It is not her grief, it is the grief of the entire world. Savitri's grief consists of the entire world's grief. Night's darkness seemed her future's ominous face. The shadow of her lover's doom arose, and fear laid hand upon her mortal breast. Obviously, she is worried. What is going to happen tomorrow? See, what is going to happen to her? Human Savitri is there. Human Savitri is there. And he has to describe the full nature of human Savitri. This is what we have here, see. Complete. The mobile, swift and ruthless, raced. The time is running short. Yes, now few months, few weeks, few days, few moments. Time is really running short. The moment swift and ruthless ray alarmed her thoughts. Her mind remembered Narad's date. This day returning, he says, this day returning, Satyavan must die. Now, that moment is fixed. And from that moment onward, 1 year, Savitri is counting. So Narad's date is, this date is actually fixed when Narad made that utterance. This day returning. It is not their coming together, their marriage, their physical union that way. No. It is fixed that way in the utterance of Narad. The day of death is fixed that way. Narad's date. Otherwise, how does she know? How does she? So the day of prophecy is what there. And then remembered Narad's date. As I said earlier, I mean, she is counting the day, the time, the hour, the moment. She is counting everything, time, day, hour, moment. Veda, Kala, Kshana, Muhurta. That is what the Sanskrit phrase says, you see. She is counting all that thing. And she knows that thing. She is fixed in that. And every day a page of life is getting torn from her life, from her calendar. A trembling, moved accountant of her riches. So she is now accounting, you see, counting, okay, now 365, 364, 363. She is counting like that, you see, all the accountant to see. She reckoned the insufficient days between. Insufficient for what? She doesn't know. Insufficient for what? For her joy. Can she get all the joy she wants in those few remaining days, insufficient days? That 1 year is not enough for her to be in the company of her lover. Insufficient days, you see. A dire expectancy knocked at her breast. Dreadful to her were the footsteps of the hours. You see, he says first days, now he says hours. Grief came, a passionate stranger, to her gate. Grief came, a passionate stranger, to her gate. Savitri never knew grief, but now he is coming as a guest and waiting at the gate there. You see. It rose at morn to look into her, vanish when in his arms. That grief is no more there when Savitri is in the company of her lover, of her husband. Out of her sleep, it rose at morn to look into her face. The moment she gets up, the grief comes, that guest is there, he is waiting there outside and he is looking into her face, you see. Vainly she fled into the abysms of bliss. She wants to go back into the profound depths of bliss, Savitri of her company, of her lover's company. But that is vain, because that grief is knocking now at the door. He is there as a guest coming there. From her pursuing foresight of the end, the more she plunged into love, that anguish grew. Obviously, the joy of union becomes more and more intense, but with the same intensity, also that worry, that dread, that anguish grows in her soul. Her deepest grief, her deepest grief from sweetest gulps arose. Deepest grief, the abysms of bliss, in contrast to that, the deepest grief. This is the direst grief coming to her. When she is in the company of her sweetest girls. Remembrance was a poignant pang. She felt each day a golden leaf torn cruelly out from her too slender book of love and joy. Too slender from the book of love and joy. Too slender, insufficient is. He says insufficient is, no. That is a too slender, you see. From her too slender book of love and joy. It is just a book of 365 pages, and it will be read very quickly, very fast, you see. But half of the book, rather not half of the book, half of the page of the book is joy, the other half of the page is grief, you see. It's constantly going on from page to page like that, you see. Thus swaying in strong gusts of happiness. See, this is the conflict going on, the seesaw game of joy and happiness and grief and sorrow is constantly going on. Swaying in strong gusts of happiness and swimming in foreboding somber waves and feeding sorrow and terror with her hand. For now they sat among her bosom's guests on her, or in her inner chamber, paced apart. Her eyes stared blind into the future's night. She does not know what is going to happen tomorrow, future's night. She is looking into the future. She is totally unaware of what is going to happen, how she is going to move, how she is going to meet that event, totally. Feeding sorrow and terror with her heart. Obviously. But now they, sorrow and terror, sat among the bosoms guests. So they had now occupied her heart, or in her inner chamber, paced apart, sorrow and grief, she will walk apart otherwise.